Hello everybody, I'm Maria from the Richardson Simple Living. Hope you can hear me with the little bird scratching around and tweetering in the background. Seems to react to my voice, or when you come in the room he gets all excitable. But I have got the mic on, hopefully then you can hear me better. So today's Tuesday, and like I said, I was coming back Tuesday to do a book review. Not just a book review, I was going to show you some books as well that children, older children, occasionally adults read through time. I thought I'd start though with Sian's book review. I'm trying not to say the word so as much as I normally do, because apparently, well, I've noticed it myself, and apparently my granddaughter, she says I'm always saying so. I do though. Anyway, at the moment, can you see that all right if I bring it down a little bit so I'm not stretching so much? At the moment, Sian's doing Carrie's War for Read Aloud. We are, let's have a look, found a bookmark. We are, got that much left of it to go, so not far off the end. It's on chapter 12. Story's okay, it's all right. Well, I've not read it to the end, so I don't know what the end's going to be yet. We don't know. But there's only that little bit left. But it appears that these two children, brother and sister, have gone to stay with this man and his sister in Wales during the Second World War. They've gone as refugees. They've met a lady called Hepzibah, who lives with a couple of others, young men, older boys, and also this Mr. Evans, who the children are staying with, their other sister, Mrs. Go-to-Bed. And we've just read, she just died, this Mrs. Go-to-Bed, and it seems like Mr. Evans has stolen the will that she's written. So, I don't know, when I read about Hepzibah, I expected it to be a witch and all sorts of weird and wonderful things happen in this story. But like I say, we've read that much and nothing weird and wonderful has really happened. It's just a basic story about these two kids just trying to get by as refugees living in a different place, and enjoying the company of Hepzibah and the people who live with her, and getting by with this Mr. Evans, who's quite a meanie, although I'm sure underneath he has got feelings, but he's a bit of a meanie, and poor old, his other sister Lou, suffers at his hands a bit with his mean ways. But for all the adventures that I thought they could have gone on, there's no way in that little bit they're going to be doing them. So, I don't know. It's we'll see how it ends. We'll say again when it ends what we think. It did take a little bit of getting into, but like I say, we'll see when it ends. Sian isn't so fussed. She keeps asking me what it's really all about, other than these children going to stay in this village as refugees. I think she's expecting some adventure. I think because it says war, she was expecting quite a bit of adventure and thrill and spell of war. I'm bringing you down a little bit more because I realise I'm cutting a bit of the book off. So yeah, we're not quite finished that, but it's certainly a nice book. It is an okay story. Now I'm going to show you what Sian reads herself, self-reading, because before I do that, I was going to tell you about the other book, Number the Stars. That was the other book she had for World Book Day. She enjoyed that. That was about this family who were Jews, mother, father, and the daughter were Jews. They were neighbours to his mother, father, and her two daughters. Oh, she'd originally had three, but one had died. And it's at the time when they were rounding all the Jews up, and so they had to escape, and this family took the daughter and they hid her. But we get some exciting moments where the Germans come in, and they had to disguise her as their daughter who died and say she was there, so they could get away to a place. And it was a place that they had operation code words and things, and eventually they met up in the deeper night, and they got taken to this boat, and their parents were at the boat, and they were sent away. But then it finishes like years down the line that the girls meet up again, and this is it Denmark? Yeah, in Copenhagen. This girl had kept her Jewish friend's necklace for her because it was a Star of David, and she'd hidden it away all the years to give back to her when they eventually were reunited, not knowing obviously at the time whether they would be. So that was a good story. Sian enjoyed that as well. It was a bit, I hope they don't get them nerve-wracking at times, you know. But what's these books, read aloud books, are nice easy books. I'll just give you an example of a page. They're short chapters, nice sized writing, great for read alouds. Now, Sian reads other books as well. She just doesn't just read the read alouds, and sometimes people say, oh, they might be a bit young for Sian, because they have age groups on books. Like, she likes Jacqueline Wilson's, and they vary from around about 8, 9 to 12, 13 years, some of the stories. But I don't go by that, because a story is a story. If you enjoy a book, it doesn't matter what age it is, you know, you enjoy the book. So never let age on a book put you off. Never think it's too young or maybe too old for the child, if it's what they want to read, or even yourself. You know, I like Sian's books. I love the Jacqueline Wilson books. I love listening to her read, and I love the stories, and I can picture them, and I would happily go back and pick the book up myself and read it. But sometimes it's tempting not to pick it up and carry on reading. When she's read something, I'm thinking, oh, I want to know more. So never ever worry about the age on books. It's nothing really. Well, like I say, in her spare time, she reads older books at the moment. She's interested in countries and that, so she's reading about Russia. I mean, look at the size of that book. See, Marco, she's only got so far in, because she keeps picking different books up. But yeah, they're big books, and I promised I won't lose the page. And that's much smaller writing, bigger chapters, a lot different in comparison to the books she does on Read Aloud. She likes to study these books, and she enjoys these. In fact, they're adult books. I mean, you can see, looking at the back, they're written with adults in mind. But she loves them. It's what she wants to read. It's the modern history of Russia, from Tsarism to the 21st century. And that's what she's learning. She chose herself to do that. And this is what she's doing. And she enjoys reading that. And then she tells you all these facts and figures, and you say, oh, you're boggling my head. So that's what sort of thing Sian's reading. And she'll probably go back to Jacqueline Wilson's when we've done that. She's got lots of books to catch up with. Now, we'll go back a generation to myself when I was a child. Sort of books I like to read, and still do. Sense and Sensibility, Great Expectations. Charles Dickens. I love the words Charles Dickens. Anything Charles Dickens. Got all his books and collections, and love Charles Dickens. But I used to buy these books myself. I don't know if any of you had ever seen them before anywhere, but I used to buy them. There was loads in the series, as you can see from the back. When I'd have Christmas money, birthday money, I'd go down to this little post office where we lived, and it had like a little toy shop inside of it, and that's where I'd go. My brothers buy toys, I'd buy books. So, and I wrote in the front of them as well. So that's me, Maria Fitzsimmons, age 12. And I bought it on the 17th of October 1975. So I'm not sure where I'd have had the money from in October, because it's not near my birthday, it's not near Christmas, but somebody must have given us something, or I'd got some saved. So that's in 1975. And that was the sort of reading that we did at our ages then. You know, they were quite... no pictures, it was all quite intense reading. Nice big chapters, small writing. and I've got loads of these, loads and loads that I bought. Black Beauty, Little Women. Oh God, I can't think all the What Katie Did. You know, all your classic books. I got all of them in these. Water Babies, everything. So that's the sort of thing my generation was reading. Well, the boys want to be reading Sense and Sensibility, but you know. But take me back to being a bit smaller child, to when I was 8. These are the sort of books I like. This was my most favourite. I had it for Christmas. Peter and Wendy's Magic Animal Land. And I've read it and read it and read it. And so much so it's falling to bits. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, you can see, look at that fashion. It's that 70s fashion. Do you remember those belts, those like Indian belts that they used to have with the buckles? I mean, you might have seen them in museums if you're younger. Yeah. But they're the sort of books I read. This book is Maria's, aged 8. So this book's 50 years old. No wonder it's all come to bits. Look at that, I must tape it or something. Trouble is, you tape them, it comes off in time, but it'll preserve it for now. Apparently, I'd given the book to my brother, one of my brothers, Lee, and had it back again. Something I always did. I've got a lovely book upstairs, Rudd and Robinette. Oh, that was my favourite book I had for Christmas as well. But I can't dig them all out because they're just buried. So I've just got the ones that I could get. So I had this book in 1971 that I'll show you. I'm just trying to see when it was printed. Can't see when it was printed. But lovely, watch it unbreak, lovely big pictures. Nice writing, big coloured pictures. This is the sort of thing children read in the 70s, maybe late 60s as well, 60s, 70s. Beautifully illustrated, nice colours. And that's about some children who, it was a blue moon or something, and they ended up going to this animal kingdom, it's magic, where all the animals talk to them. And so they visited all the animals and had conversations with them all and adventures. I haven't read it for a little while. Maybe I'm due a read of this again. Maybe I'll read it before I put it back. Yes, they went to play hide and seek in the woods and saw this pathway of ice and snow in the middle of summer. And they entered it and they went into the animal magic land. So I do need to do that because look, pages are all, got to sort that out. So that's the sort of thing that I read when I was little. And we read The Tales of Toy Town. That was one of my favourite when I was really little. I sit and read on the step all day long. And I was absorbed because when I read a book, I'm actually in the book. Nothing else is around me. I love reading so much that I become part of the book and the book becomes part of me and I'm there and oblivious to everything else. I just love it. So if we go back now to the 50s, I have got some books from my mum's, but I couldn't get at them because they're all just packed away and everything's anyhow. But we'll go to 1953 to one of my uncle's books. Now, again, look, he's covered it in this paper. He would have been, how old would he have been then? 48, 5, about 5. If he'd had it for Christmas, he'd be 5. 1953. So, oh, hang on, it says here, 4, sorry. This book belongs to David Gallagher, age 4 years. And he gave it to my son, well, Carl, my eldest son. And it's called Somebody's Darlings. And again, it's beautifully illustrated, lovely colours, nice writing. They're really nice colours. I might sit and read this with my youngest grandson, actually. It's really nice. And I love all the animals and illustrations and the colours. And popular names in the 50s and 60s. Peter and Sally, they seem to be all in the book stories. and you'd get Jane's as well. And I think there's different little stories, collections of different little animal stories, because you've got Peter Puppy Dog's Jug, and what did I just say? It's a tale of something. Oh, there's one called Fire. I can't see now. But yeah, so that's what little children read then. 4 years old and having beautiful books like that, and looked after them so that they're still around now. So, where are we going to now? Oh, we're going to go to his older sister, the book in 1944. Now, years ago, when I was small and beyond, everybody went to Sunday schools. Well, most people did anyway. Oh, you were part of Sunday school or things like that. And we've got the Hanbury Methodist Prize to my auntie Vera Gallagher. And that was in 1944. And so she'd won a prize of a book. And they were always given books. The Guests Arrive, it's called. Now, I've not read any of these books. Don't know what they're about, because the older I get, the harder they get. I mean, the older I get in the book's years, not the older I get. Although that might come true. But yeah, the writing is so small. Yeah, it was first printed in 1934. And its last reprint was 1944, which she'd have obviously had it new. So I'm not going to work out how old she was then. Obviously young. But I mean, look at the writing on them. I mean, they're a bit yellow with age, but all of that. And yet children read things like that in those days. We go back a little bit further now, and this is just something simple. Now, we're going back. Actually, we've jumped one. That should go under there. We're going back to the war years now, to 1939. My granddad was in the army, served over in India, and they all had active service edition New Testaments. They were all given them standard. And this is my granddad's, Harry Gallagher, and they were allowed to put their home address on, but it said do not insert the name of your unit. So I don't know if that was some security reasons. Issued on September the 15th, 1939, starting with a message from His Majesty the King at the front. So that's quite nice. And it's just pictures, a New Testament. I thought that was the same picture then. Bring it up a bit. Just, yeah, a New Testament that they could read to help them, you know, through those dark hours, those bad times. Now, we'll go a little bit further with my granddad. It goes confirmed. I mean, they're Catholics. My granddad's family, well, most of my families are, because they're all Irish. So most of them are Catholics. But my granddad's family were, well, most of them on both my granddad's side, I should say, my maternal lines. One's Welsh, one's English. But both my paternal lines are Irish. So, yeah, it says Harry Gallagher confirmed by the Bishop of Lichfield, June the 3rd, 1918. It also says about the communion. We've got communion June the 16th, 1918. Oh, first communion in the church. And the person has read, either eateth thy flesh and drinketh thy blood, dwelleth in me, and I in him, I think it says. Very difficult to write, because look at that writing. So, yeah. And it's just prayers and Holy Communion. In fact, I got a prayer book, but I can't get at it. When I left the little school, it's from 1974, and you could choose a Bible. I think that was New Testament only, though, or a prayer book. Because we've got plenty of Bibles, I chose a prayer book. Because in those days they issued things like that, and they don't do that in schools and Sunday schools and things like that now. Don't seem to get anything. Well, I'm not so sure about Sunday schools. Don't know anybody goes anymore. So yeah, and then it talks about the Catholic Church at the back of it. And they've even wrote it again at the back, same as they wrote at the front, but upside down. So, I smell really old and musty, like I've gone back in time. Then we go back again to a book called Fighting Caravans. I mean, look at the state of that. See what time period we've gone back to now. Oh, it's my granddad, I think, Harry Gallagher. But look at the state of the front of that. Now, I don't know why my granddad would have had a book like this. It is a reading book, story book, because my granddad did nothing but read the racing results as far as I knew. That's all he ever did, read the racing pages. It does look like somebody else's name been under there, definitely Gallagher, so it's definitely belonging to the family, but I'm not quite sure whose it is, because it looks like it's been gone over a couple of times. I tried to find a printing date. I'm not sure if I did find it on this one or not. Oh, yes. Last printed in 1929. So if it is somebody's name underneath, it's got to be one of his sisters or brothers, because it would be before the time of my aunties. Well, one of them would have only been one. Certainly would not be reading books. I thought I broke it then. Books like this. Fighting Caravans. I don't know what they're about. They don't even say, you know, like we look on the backs of ours, see what they're about, but they don't even say that. But saying about my granddad and his racing, he's wrote racing times and horses, look on the back. I don't know if you can really see it very well, but he's wrote his list of racing. I bet they were his bets on the back of the book, probably the first thing he could get. I mean, sometimes I think writing on books destroys them. I'm always saying, no, don't write on your books. But, you know, when I find the old family books like this, I'm quite glad they did, really, because it's amazing what information you can pull out of them just by reading things like that. So we've now got a book called The History of Sanford and Melton. Have looked some of these books up online, and you can still buy them from second-hand bookstores. And some I haven't seen anywhere. Now this belonged to somebody called Clementine Groves. It looks like it was a Sunday school prize, because look how fancy that is. I think, or it could have been a school prize. I can't actually say. Oh, Sunday school, yeah. Clement Groves, awarded to Clement Groves for attendance and good conduct at Needwood Church Sunday School. And he got a book from that. But what I like about this, I cannot trace who Clement Groves is. Now, I know that my great-great-grandmother from my maternal line was Groves before she married my granddad. So it's obviously one of her brother's children or whatever. But what I like about it is, eventually I'm going to find it, but he's put his name on the back, Clement Groves, born November the 26th in Newborough. See? So I am glad that they did write on them sometimes. So I just don't know what year. I'm afraid. But yeah, that's really good. And again, I mean, he would have been young, obviously, I expect. He wouldn't be majorly old. And they're the sort of books that we're reading. It's like no pictures and really tough going. There's a lot of books, Be Thou and They and all that. Now we go to one with the birds. This is quite nice. I like this. With the Birds, poems by Mary Howitt. It's not a big book. This was awarded to Joseph Lindsay. That is my great-grandmother's brother, younger brother, for diligence. Now, there's a word you don't hear every day nowadays. In August of 1897. And, you know, it's lovely. I've just been reading through, and it gives you the name of birds and tells you little poems about them. How nice. I mean, the hummingbird. I like it so much. I'm tempted to keep this to one side and each morning read a poem to Sian from it about birds. Because it'll have good educational value in there as well. I mean, that's really nice. And the little black and white pictures. That's really nice. And that's from 1897. That's the kind of thing they read in 1897. Educational things and, things that learnt them something. The woodpecker, I think I just said that, did I? The cuckoo, the swallows, house sparrows. I mean, how many of these birds do we even see these days? The long-tailed titmouse. I don't think I've ever even seen a long-tailed titmouse. That's a really good book, and that I'm going to put that actually in a education pile, and I'm going to read one every day and see what that's like. So lastly, or I'd be here forever if I'd got all my books down and my house would be well and truly upside down. I've got a book called The King's Ferry. I don't know what any of these books are about. I just thought it's interesting to show you. This is from Rangemore School, a prize in standard 6, July 1894. And this is Agnes Lindsay. That's my great-grandmother. I've got a few other books, Agnes Lindsay's. But the way that some of the words read, they address people mistress and thee, thous, those and theints. Not that there was such a word as thaint, but... And for 'tis. Thereupon, he had a brave show of gallantry. We don't speak like that these days. A brave show of gallantry. Nowadays somebody said, he thinks he's hard, doesn't he? But yeah, it was. So that's the oldest one I pulled out. I have got some more, but like I say, they're in various places. They're not all together because they've all been come across at different times, and some are in the loft, some are under cupboards, some are buried in cupboards that I can't get to, which needs sorting out. But my hands feel grimy now. But yeah, they're in various states as well. We've got a modern dictionary from the early 1900s. It's about that thick. Imagine taking that to school with you every day. So yeah, we've got various books. I just thought I'd give you a book review of Sian's books, how she's doing, and I'd just show you some of these older ones, and it's quite nice from the 1800s. I like them. I keep saying I'm going to have a go at reading some of them, but it is a bit tough going because of the language is different. I mean, it's not as bad as 1500s, not like reading Shakespeare, but it is a bit different, and you do have to stop a bit as your mind gallops on when you come across a word that we don't use nowadays, and pulls you back up a bit. Pardon me, but I would like to know what they're all about, because they just don't tell you. They just don't say. Like I said, we have snippets on the back that give you an idea. You read them and you think, oh, I like that or I won't, Well, I can't see anywhere where it tells you what it may be about. I mean, you've got your contents, list of illustrations, and then you get straight into the story. So whether you'd like the story or not, you don't know. They all seem a bit, maybe I wouldn't, I don't know. But anyway, this fringe is bugging me today. It's got to be cut. Going off the track. So yeah, that's a pile of the books I've just shown you. There, look. And I've took one out up there, and that poem one, that looks really good. I'm going to read one of them a day. That looks really good. So yeah, that's it for today. Just a book review. So next time you see me now, I'm going to come on Friday, and I'm going to be doing the April Gardening Collab, which is hosted by Victoria from Home Educating the Mad Lads. Some of them have already put theirs up online already. So if you want to go over and have a look at what they've done, I've still got to catch up on them. I've noticed a couple that I haven't got around to watching yet. So I've got to catch up with them. And I shall put mine on Friday, and hopefully I might have a few things in the garden by then, I don't know. So I shall see you on Friday with the Gardening Collab. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the little book review, and especially the old books. And I shall see you now on Friday. Take care, everybody. Bye.